Welcome back YouTubers to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're following me right now and you're new to my channel, my name is AspieAnswersAll and I'm all about creating mental health awareness videos versus sharing my life stories with basically depression, OCD, Asperger's syndrome or AS for short and the like, basically to just give you the lowdowns on my highs and lows of what I go through in my everyday life of all these pre-diagnosed conditions that rolls into one with my Asperger's syndrome versus basically also as be sitting here as a voice for you all, for the ones that maybe feel that you can't seem to find the voice right now and share your life stories or what have you of whatever's maybe troubling you, that I can be your mentor, advocate, support person. Look no further, I'm one of them, and hopefully that this channel of mine will be friendly enough for you and supportive enough for you all, that you welcoming and inviting you all with open arms regardless where you've been and where you're heading right now. As we know, basically we need the encouragement and support from everyone we can find, be it our family, friends and whoever it may be. And not further ado though, also I do another channel which, even though it's like I said in the playlistings of the one of my life of an Aspie right now, or everyday life of an Aspie, which is pretty much going to be covering everyday topics that we go through, be it relationship problems versus just eating disorders, temptation and the like, and hopefully just give you some words of encouragement there, and hopefully that in those words of encouragement that it will be of support to you regardless what it may be, or it could be of support to someone else. If you feel to share these videos, do so. That's what it's used for. My videos is educational, resource tool, whatever it may be. And not further ado though, basically I have been trying to think of what else to share about basically on my everyday life of an Aspie channel, and right now though it's come to my attention right now, I've been thinking about basically talking about the sensory processing disorder, which will come into like series. Basically how it's going to be is like what it is, basically the functions maybe of the sensory processing disorder versus the signs and symptoms of the sensory processing disorder, the types of sensory processing disorders, as we know there are variations on that, and the treatments and therapies for this. So again, like I said in most of my videos, basically it will be step by step, hopefully easy to follow. And also disclaimer before I continue, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm just pretty much everyday Joe blogs, sharing my life stories and experiences of what I've been through in my everyday life, and hopefully that some of these will come to light as signs and symptoms I may address to you all, or just my everyday life stories of what goes down with me every day, that maybe you can relate one way or another, or if some of the signs and symptoms that I share with you all, regardless of any everyday topic, here's an example of the classic one today that I'm sharing, sensory processing disorder, do seek medical attention if need be, or seeking advice from a doctor just to hear out what they might have to say for your treatment therapy plans, because everyone's different in their way of handling the everyday situations. So I'm just hoping that everyone doesn't have to feel alone when they feel that no one can relate, when we know there's quite a few people that can relate to our everyday lifestyle. As we know though, as I began, sensory processing disorder isn't just for the ones that has the diagnoses of this, but actually for everyone around us, because obviously at this time there will be many people out there that will have those kind of classic issues of sensory processing disorder, regardless what it is. For many of us, especially myself, I'm sure most of you will agree that you don't always need a diagnosis in order to actually know what's going on. If in your hearts of hearts what's going on in yourself, even though we know that doctors are only human when they make their mistakes of our diagnoses, regardless what it is. Like I said before, that I've been misdiagnosed with certain everyday conditions, regardless what it may be. So hopefully in order of this, that we can just be able to relate somehow. As basically, while with all these misdiagnoses, however, I have shared basically my brief story about my Asperger's syndrome, how it came about versus the misdiagnoses and everything else that I shared, and hopefully that 9 times out of 10 that something will likely to happen in the near future of this. As we know though, also with having Asperger's syndrome, like any other properly pre-diagnosed conditions, basically that 9 times out of 10 that basically you'll have some pre-diagnoses of the underlying causes that comes and goes, as well as the diagnoses that comes into play, as so does with the term that I'm sharing with you all, sensory processing disorder. This comes with certain, symptoms from other conditions out there, such as Tourette's most likely, as well as basically autism, real hugely in that's linked with SPD, OCD, anxiety and the like. You'll be amazed or basically having a wow moment when I share with you all about this. When I say eating disorders as another one, you may be thinking, wow, really? Are you for real, Kieran? Just bear in mind though, however, that you don't have to be diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, as you're already maybe have a condition. But this message topic hopefully will be addressed to everyone to educate you all, to hopefully teach you something, or hopefully learn something from me of what I've researched and what I've been through, and hopefully with some of the things that I've been through based on my life experiences, regardless of what it may be, that hopefully you can associate, correlate. It's just an everyday topic that I hope for everyone that may be a bit curious to know what goes down with people with sensory processing disorders, or just wants to learn more and know more about it, and maybe use these video series that I'm about to bring out of these sensory processing disorders as an educational tool for others around you. So as I said, basically I'm going to cover what is PTSD, which is coming up next now in this video of my introductory, versus your types of sensory processing disorders, the symptoms, signs of SPD, the causes and treatments. So in all further ado, basically, as we know, if you don't know, sensory processing disorder, is defined as, how I look at it, is the condition which the brain has trouble recollecting some messages or receiving and sending some information that we get fed into the brain. So basically, with our brain, obviously it's a real complex, organ. Basically, sometimes to this day it's still hard to understand how the brain function works of very different parts of it, basically. And I find that sometimes with this though, it's all these neurotransmitters we know that sends off signals to different parts of the brain, be it whatever part it is, versus the chemical releases of the hormones of different types that comes into play of our everyday life. So therefore, I said basically about adrenaline, which adrenaline is obviously the real big rush of it, that pulsates through our everyday stuff. But as we know, basically, it's also, if you want to know it more properly, how I'm sharing here, basically on the sensory processing disorder, to find it easier for you guys to understand, it's basically how we react to certain environments, as well as to our stimuli of the 5 classic senses, when these neurotransmitters and all these receiving and responding categories of our neurotransmitters being perceived from our 5 classic senses, regardless what it may be. Before I end this though, basically there has been some terminology that you might want to know about, basically, which is your hypersensitive versus your hypersensitive. So hypersensitive is you're underactive with some certain situations of the stimuli that gets released out from your neurotransmitters. Then you've got the other scale of hypersensitive, where people are really overreactive to certain stimuli, be it a classic example is maybe bright lights for the ones that are really hypersensitive, or for the hypersensitive that are underactive is pretty much maybe something about certain noises that affects them to a point, and that we need to know about it. To end this though, just to give you still more of a break that down, sensory processing disorder is also known as sensory integration. So way back in 1972, a lady by the name of Anna Jean Ayers, if I'm pronouncing it right, defined this as a neurological process that organizes sensation from one's own body and from the environment, and makes it impossible to use the body effectively within the environment. So basically, as we know, sometimes, as I said, we get mixed messages inside our brains with the neurotransmitters and all that, and how it goes inputting versus the outputting of the signal, basically. And basically also another one is for this, before I end it, is sensory seekers versus sensory avoiders. Sensory, obviously, seekers are the ones that seeks out the senses of the 5 classic stimuli versus your taste, touch, feel, you know, and all that. With sensory avoiders are the ones that will try to avoid every, you know, senses that they need to, basically, to just, you know, get on with their everyday. So basically, you know, as I shared, basically it's different for everyone. Basically, also, just to be clear though, like for this, also the classification of sensory processing disorders come into 3 categories, and they're really broad here. However, number 1 is your sensory modulation disorder, number 2 sensory based motor disorders, and number 3 is your sensory discrimination disorders. Okay, basically this will come up next in the part what I'm going to be sharing with you, all of the classification types, hopefully, and hopefully it will get you a better understanding. Hopefully it'll be short and brief and straight to the point how I'm going to address it to you. So, in all further ado, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for your support so far. Basically, love what you do, do what you love. Share these with your friends and family, and basically subscribe to my channel for daily, weekly vlogs if need be. Basically, also feel free to just comment below if anything that I have missed or something that you may be able to relate to that will be, you know, strictly on those topics I'm sharing right now, which is crucial. So, in all further ado, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.